春一番のサブロクセット。マクドナルドのハンバーガー、チーズバーガー、フィレオフィッシュがドリンクとポテトのセットになって春も嬉しい360円。マクドナルド。
The year is 1988.
いつの間にかなくしてしまったものありました。
A 17-year-old high school student is traveling the streets of Tokyo on her bike while making her way home from her part-time job at an electronics retailer. She has no idea that this normal, average day would be her last day of freedom. This girl would be known as Junko Furuta. For 42 days, she would be beaten, raped, and eventually murdered. In one of Japan's worst crimes to happen after World War II. Are you okay? Can I escort you home? An empty warehouse would be the start of Junko's 42 days of torture. Led by Hiroshi Miyano, she would be beaten and raped here for the first time by Miyano. I have connections to the Yakuza. I know where your family live, and they will kill you if you tell the police. A hotel would be Junko's next stop. This time, it wouldn't just be Miyano involved. Ryo Ogura and Yasushi Watanabe would be involved in this rape of 17-year-old Junko. All three took turns with her, which wouldn't be the first time they've done this to another girl. Nobuharu Minato's parents' house. Junko's final stop. This is where Junko would be held captive for the full 42 days. After 3 days, a police investigation would be launched to find Junko, with her mother claiming that she was missing.
Hello? Mom? Hello? I can't come home right now. Don't look for me.
Minato's brother and parents knew that there was a girl in the house. The 4 boys claimed that she was the girlfriend of one of the captors, but the parents knew that this was untrue. They were just simply scared of Minato. His anger, his ties to the Yakuza, and not to mention the fear of their reputation being tarnished. Once people found out that their son was responsible for what was, at this point, just a simple missing case. It didn't take long for the four boys to scrap this story. Junko's presence at Minato's house would be bragged about to many people. Many people would be invited over to rape the girl. By the end, it's believed that over 100 people were involved with raping Junko, with figures showing that this could have been up to 12 men a day. She was rarely fed. When she was, the meal consisted of cockroaches and her own urine. She would become dehydrated. She would vomit. This caused the four men to beat her further. She would be naked most of the time. She would be put in a freezer. She would be made to sleep on the balcony. 20 days went by, and Junko could no longer walk. Her legs would be set on fire using lighter fluid, and her hands would be crushed by dumbbells, as well as her fingernails torn off. Lit fireworks would be placed in her mouth, ears, and anus. Hot light bulbs would be inserted into her vagina, and one of her nipples would be torn off with a pair of pliers. On December the 1st, 1988, she would be hung from the ceiling and used as a human punch bag, bleeding from the mouth because of her damaged internal organs. One night, the four men got drunk and fell asleep. Junko seized this opportunity to escape, crawling downstairs and calling the police.
What's your location?
Please help. I'm trapped in a house.
Can you tell me your name?
Unfortunately, this would fail when Miyano would find her. Explaining over the phone that it was nothing more than a prank. I'm sorry, my sister, she was just playing a prank. It won't happen again. Her punishment resulted in her being set on fire, and her head laid on concrete and stomped on. She was beaten so badly that the men didn't find her attractive anymore, and they refused to rape her. Near the end, it took her almost an hour just to get to the bathroom. 4th of January 1989. One day before Junko's death, Minato's crew had lost a game of mahjong. The loss was upsetting for them, which resulted in Junko being beaten and burnt for 2 whole hours. A day later, Junko would go into shock and sadly pass away. The body was disposed of in a 55-gallon drum, filled with concrete and dumped at a construction site in Koto. These were Junko Furuta's final days. The body wouldn't be found for a year. She was analysed by her fingerprints because her body was so badly beaten. It was also discovered that she was in fact pregnant. The details of the murder and torture were so bad that when her mother was told, she was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. The names of the individuals involved were not stated at the time. However, it wouldn't take long for Japanese magazine company Shukan Bunshun to expose the names of the individuals involved, as they should have been from the very start. They were charged as adults due to public backlash. Three out of 4 of these men would go on to commit more crimes after their release. Joe Ogura would be arrested for assaulting the manager of an hostess club 4 years later. He was released in 2009. Hiroshi Miyano would be arrested for fraud 4 years after his release. He was never prosecuted. Minato would be arrested for beating an employee with a metal baton as well as slashing his throat. The accusation would come in the form of attempted murder. The sentences are and were, without a doubt, very, very short. All of these men are now free men. A total sum to the equivalent of $600,000 US was paid to Junko's family. It doesn't compensate for the life of a human being. The life of an innocent young woman was taken without any specific reasoning, just because they felt like attacking her. She was a young lady with hopes and dreams, a future, a family. She lived through over 40 days of torture for absolutely no reason.